consulting, education, and manufacturing. She specializes in business process optimization, curriculum development, and capacity building. Gladys holds certification in business analysis and education management and leads initiatives like the STEAM Up Lagos project, which addresses the digital skills gap in schools. Based in the UK, she advises entrepreneurs, helping them create sustainable business structures. A frequent speaker and author, she is passionate about leveraging technology and data to drive business growth and innovation. So you guys see that you're in safe hands, you're in capable hands. Let me put it that way. Hi, Gladys. Thank you for joining us today. Hi. We can't hear you. You're still muted.
Yeah, I just noticed that my mic was muted. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much, Amomi. As
So,
Amomi was speaking, I said, oh my goodness, she's so much like me. She talked about the fact that she loves not watching Netflix. I like watching
yeah.
Netflix as well. She also talked about the fact that she's passionate about capacity building. And that's something that's a big deal for me. So there were so many likes, intersections between us that I just kept saying, oh my goodness, she's very, very, very much like me. And that was
Yeah.
very exciting for me. And I remember a couple of years ago when I just started having children, that was in 2005, and I had my first child then. And I decided to take some time off work and just stay at home. And guess what I was doing? Movie scripts. And I'm like, who is this girl?
Wow.
Exactly, a movie. So
Wow.
there's so much, like I said, that just we're so similar. And so we girlies are techies,
Yeah. It's
having
always
so
good to
much
do
fun.
something outside of tech because at the end of the day, your horizon is still broadened and you
Yeah,
have more interest, and it's just so beautiful. It's a good way to unwind
absolutely.
as well. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's also great.
It's so good to
It's
have
always
you,
so amazing
Gladys.
being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And I
you.
look forward to, also learning from you today. So I would hand over to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Yes, girls in tech, say hi, say hi, say hi, say hi, say hi, say hi. Hi everyone. So I did put together some slides, right? And that's because I noticed that we do have different types of learners. As you guys would have noticed, I have a background in education, and that's a big deal for me. And so because of my background in education, I typically like to cater to, many different types of learners who I find within my spaces. So the way this session is going to work, I'm going to assume that and I was very happy because I was here from the beginning when Amomi was speaking, and she did say, tell me where you're coming from, tell me what it is that you do. And I noticed that not everybody's in the data space. Of course, she also mentioned how many of you have uh, data analyst jobs already. And again, a few people said we don't have data analyst jobs. But the reason why you have come here, right, is because you've seen that gap. You've said, you know what? I love being in the tech space. I love being in the data space. I love being in, whatever type of tech space you are, to be honest. But there's a gap. And my gap here is that I'm either struggling with getting a job, or I've gotten a job and I'm struggling with moving ahead on my job, or I'm about to get a job and I don't even know what the heck I'm supposed to be talking about in that interview. So there are all these blocks that either of us here could fall into, and that's where I'm hoping that I can support you guys. And so this session really is going to be very practical. I'm not going to talk a lot about data because I think we already know about data. Let's talk life. Let's talk about the realities of what happens in the marketplace. Something I enjoy doing as well, which is like my baby portfolio, is something that I just started doing over the past year and a half, is working with tech professionals, especially those in the immigrant space, right? So they've just either migrated outside of the country where their home country, or perhaps they're thinking of migrating from their home country, or even if they're in their home country and they would like to get all of these jobs, either tech jobs within the home country or outside of the home country, and they're struggling. How am I supposed to do this? And so that's my baby project. So that's something that I would have to reach out to Dari for, because as Omom was speaking, I was like, oh my goodness, are you joking? These are my people. And what I really do is I just recently took a certification in change management, and it's just so that I can really support people with across that space, right? I remember when I first moved to the UK, I struggled, because I'm like, are you joking? I was recruited straight out of Nigeria. Even though I do run my businesses in Nigeria, my kids lived in the UK, right? My daughter was in university. My son was doing his A levels, and it was just tough, right? Being at home, and then I was always traveling. I think I was traveling to the UK almost every other month. And beyond the fact that it was expensive because I was staying in hotels, but I missed my kids. My husband typically works offshore. So what would happen is he's typically offshore for 1 month. And then when he comes home, half the time he's at home, half the time he's jetting off to the UK to see the kids as well. Or we're together. It was just crazy, And that lifestyle was something I'm like, you know what, it's not really sustainable because I was half the time I was tired because when you're traveling all over the place, you're tired. And I said, what can I do? And something that I then did was to leverage on my tech skills, right? So I'm like by trade, like I said, an educator. But if we're looking in the tech space, I'm a business analyst, and I'm a business analyst with a vast repertoire of skills because I've worked very strongly in consulting. I've worked in the manufacturing space. I've worked in the IT space. I've worked in digital transformation. So quite a number of things that I've done. But those skills, right, made me employable. And they didn't make me employable because I had the skills. They made me employable because I could sell the skills. And that's the difference. And so that's what I'm hoping this session will do for you. And so we'll start really slow, and I'll share my slides in a minute, and then sort of take it up to that place where we begin to see how the work that Dari does is critical towards really moving you into your to be space. We call it our to be for those of us who are business analysts in the house, and we call it our to be space. So you're here in your current state and you say, this is where I want to be. And that's really the things that we would have, those conversations we would have in this session. If you think I'm going too fast, please let me know. I get very passionate about this topic, and I just go, So you think for some reason, madam, slow down. Just let me know, and I will try my best to slow down. However, I know that some of you want to go and sleep. I want to go and watch. There's this new K drama that has just come out, and I saw it, and I'm like, hey, this K drama, I have to watch you. So I want to go and watch K drama. Well, yes, I will keep you guys for so long in this space. Yes, if at anytime at all you have questions, please pop it in the chat panel. I'm sure there's this time for question and answers at the end of this, but maybe I'm going along and you're like, this thing should just say it. Madam, say it again. Please put it in the chat panel. I'm going to be looking at the chat panel, and so I would try my best to sort of dump in there as well and have that conversation around the question that you're asking. So once again, my name is Okenfo Ajayi. Moving into the UK, people couldn't pronounce my name, and I so love my name, right? And I was like, you know what? Let's just do Gladys. And again, Gladys sort of epitomizes who I am as well. I'm a very happy person. I'm sure you guys have noticed. It doesn't mean I'm happy all the time, but I'm a happy person. If I'm unhappy, why should I be telling you that I'm unhappy? What's your business? So yeah, so those are the things that I do. And so I'm just going to go ahead and share my slides, and I'm happy to send, because people will soon ask me, can I get your slide? Can I get your slide? I would send the slides to the Dari team, and they would make it available to you. So don't even ask that. Yeah, let's focus on having a fun time today. Yeah. So me and Google Meet always do this. It's not my deferred platform, so I always struggle a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, got it. I had a meeting on because I'm trying to switch careers again. I'm always switching somewhere, and so I'm trying to get a contract role, and I had a meeting with the recruiters. I believe that was on Wednesday, I think, and it was really interesting to be in that meeting and just have those conversations with those recruiters. And some of the things that I did is what I'm going to share with you. I'm very practical. I don't know how to do a lot of talk. I like to just put my money where my mouth is, to be honest. Yep. Yeah. So if you can't see my screen clearly, please let me know so that I can go ahead. Yeah, if you can just let us know in the chat, that'll be fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks.
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, great. Thank you, Amalmi. Okay. So a little bit about me. I think I have mentioned it. I'm in the business management analysis program space.
Hi, ma'am. There is a pop-up on your screen. It says audience window. There is a pop-up. 'Cause So it kind of,
Right.
yeah, it's better now.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, I struggle a little with it and then I get it. Because I usually use Teams or Zoom for my sessions, but it's great this is on Google because I'm trying to really learn how to use it a lot more. So fantastic. So thanks, Amdari. Again, guys, Amdari sort of gives you the space where you learn. Yes. So they're teaching me as well, even though I'm here to have conversation with you this evening. So a bit about me. I do work in the business management analysis space. I'm also an implementation manager, which means that when you guys have created all those data and you've taken it out for some. I saw somebody who said he was a software engineer. I also saw somebody who said he was a developer, or she, I'm not sure. Then I go into that space and implement the work that you've done for your end users. I'm also in the change and transformation space. So again, working with the people to understand this change and how they come in, how to use it, and just really ensure that we can all realize the benefits of this change. And as Amomi was speaking, what came at me really is the fact that I wish I had this when I started, like a platform like Amdari, because they've done half the work for you. And as I was having this session, I said to myself, maybe I should have asked Tomiwa, who was the one that reached out to me on LinkedIn, for details about Amdari before I even jumped into the session, right? Because half of my slides, I think Omomi sort of covered it in her introductory session, which again just tells you how versatile Amdari is as a platform. Omomi said something that I thought was critical. She said, don't sleep on this, jump on it. If you're somebody in the data space, to be honest, somebody in the tech space, you would find that you don't have a choice but to use data. You don't have a choice but to interact with data. And to be honest, even if you're not in the tech space, you will use data immensely, right? So it's really important that you begin to say to yourself, what is available to me? What is available for me? What are the things that I can begin to leverage on my journey that cuts my time? Yeah, because time to market, you can't spend half of your life doing time to market. That time doesn't wait for anybody. Also, the creator community. Communities are a big deal. And having a community that sort of holds your hands, with the videos they mentioned, it's again something that just makes your journey much easier. So I would say leverage it. I've spoken to some of my coaches. Like I said, that's the work that I do. Once you've done this, my baby project is then working with you, your CV, your LinkedIn, your storytelling, holding your hands through the interview prep session and stuff like that, and then just getting you to that space where are successful at that role. And something I found is communities are a big deal. And so communities like Amdari that sort of provide a platform for you where you can springboard off of, you should not honestly sleep on it, right? So take advantage of it. And I'll talk a bit about that as we go along in the slide. These are the things that we're going to be looking at today. So from your data to the paychecks, right? How do you leverage data? And regardless of where you work, to be honest, you would always have data. There's somebody I was working with, I met her at a conference, interested conference, online conference, funny enough. And during the conference, the speaker was asking a few questions and I responded. I don't go to anywhere and I'm quiet. I don't know how to do it. And so of course I responded, letting in the chat. I'm always very active in the chats. and as I was speaking, a few people had noticed me. And then this lady reached out to me and said, you know what? I think you have the skills that I need. And I said, oh, how so? And she said, can we take it off the space? So I gave her my email and she sent me an email. And something she had been struggling with really was, how do I translate what I know? Do I even know the right things, right? And that's what I want to tell you today. Regardless of what industry you are in, you already have data. You are already working with data. You just may not know that you're working with data, right? It's like when you're cooking, you have the ingredients, but you cannot do anything with the raw ingredients, of course, except you're eating maybe carrots or an apple, and maybe you want to do an apple pie, but you decide to eat the apple first before you do the pie, right? And that's totally understandable. And the people who would use the numbers, the facts, the quantities, just like that, and that's all that they need. But you been in the data space, you've been in the engineering space. What that data that you have you recognized that it is data and it is something that can be used beyond just the facts, the details, and the numbers? You have to. If you don't bring all of those ingredients together, such as you have here, the quantities, the numbers, that's what they are, right? Raw facts. But it doesn't do anything for anybody if you don't bring it together. And that's what you need to begin to ask yourself in this space. How am I using this data? At what level am I using this data? And so if you're already in the data space, my question to you would be, what do you do in the data space? Are you that person who is simply descriptive, right? That's like the bottom of the ladder. Nigeria has a GDPR problem that that. It's just descriptive. And that's one level. But to be honest, that's the lowest level. But then you then go into diagnostics, right? Diagnostics is saying, this is what is causing the problem. This is the problem that we are seeing, and this is why we're seeing the problem. That is absolutely descriptive. And again, that takes you a step higher. And so I need you guys to begin to question yourselves. And I mentioned you already are using data. A lot of us are already within the data space. We just don't know that. Before I took my business analysis training, and this is a funny one, before I took my business analysis training, which is why community is a big deal, I was saying to myself that I needed to leave, but I didn't want to leave and come to the UK and not just be doing anything, even though I did have my education business in Nigeria, which I still run, but I wanted to be doing something here. I couldn't just sit down and I'm not that person, like energy plenty for my body, so I couldn't just come and sit down. It was impossible. And somebody said to me, he said, KK, do you realize, so people who are very close to me call me KK as well, or people who have trained, they know that KK is my other name, my alias. And she said to me, KK, do you realize that you work within the business analysis body of knowledge? And I said, what is that? Say, what? What do you talk? I'm an Edo girl, so I will speak pidgin English within this session, just like me like that. Okay. I said, what do you talk? What's in the business analysis? What's all this? Please. So she said, no, seriously, KK, I'm going to send you a link to this session. Watch it. And when I watched it, it was like an eye-opener for me. I'm like, hey, you know that waiting day for Sokoto, waiting day for Shokoto, day for Sokoto. I can't remember how he said right now. But that's how it was for me. It was like an eye-opener. And already some of you are here and you're like, but I use diagnostics now. That patient information, maybe you're working in the healthcare, that patient information that we have, we can use it to begin to create the processes that ensures that our in and outpatient workflow is more streamlined. But you don't even know that you're already working with data, right? Because nobody has ever told you. You've never seen yourself as somebody who works with data. You've just felt that you have to crunch. Of course, you have to crunch the data. You have to crunch the numbers. You have to use your SQL and Power BI and whatever else it is that you use. Of course, you need to know how to use those tools. And that's where Amdari comes in, right? They give you that data. They hold your hand through how to use it. And then, of course, you then progress from there. But do you already see yourself in what you're doing as somebody who is using data functionally? You have to. Because that is the story that you tell when you get into employment readiness. That is the story that makes the backbone of what you do. And I'll come back to this later. So you guys remind me, in case I forget, ask me that. KK, you said you were going to mention that thing you talked about in your interview session. Please, you should not forget. Okay? But I won't mention it yet. I'll mention it later. So please don't forget. And another thing that you're looking at from diagnostics is predictive. Predictive is then saying, if Nigeria continues on the tangent that it is, based on the fact that we are having very low investor trust within our environment, that's external investors, given that that is predictive. So what you have done right here is that you have described it, you have reviewed the diagnostics, you've done it, and now you're predicting what is likely to happen in another 2 to 3 years, right? And think about the news. Sometimes when you're watching the news, somebody is being very predictive and they're saying, oh, based on what we have seen, the current trends, this is what we are likely to do. And that's what then begins to inform trends, right? Because somebody somewhere has said something is going to happen. And it's almost like everything lines up and begins to make it happen. That is predictive. And that's number 3 stage. And then you have prescriptive. Prescriptive is saying, we have seen where the market is going. We have seen what is going on. This is what we must do to mitigate the risks that are out there. And that is like the highest level. Yes, you can read out the report. And that's fine to read out the report. You can talk about the report, that's fine. You can talk about what the report is saying and why the report is saying that. Again, that's fine. You can talk about what will keep on happening if this report holds true. So that's your what if analysis and stuff like that. And that's also okay. But how about that person who is prescribing and saying, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm a person of faith. And if you're not a Christian, this is not in any way trying to shade you or anything, but I just found that this example is fantastic. And some of you may have heard the story about what's his name now? His name has flown out of my head. Joseph, right? Joseph, not only when he interpreted that dream, he could have just left it at the predictive stage. No, but he was prescriptive. And that is why he gained the position that he gained. So even if you're working in the data space right now, you need to plug yourself and say, where am I here? In this four that you have on your screen, where are you? Right? Because if you are not in predictive, that's where you want to be, because that's where the big bucks comes in. But all of the things that you have done before you get to this stage is what takes you there. Some of you may already, to be honest, right, be in your be in the prescriptive stage based on the work that you do, but you are not telling the story using data properly. There was a client I worked with a number of years ago, and she was fantastic. That we had gotten her ready, and she had done interviews with Google, she had done with Amazon, and there was one other person, a Deutsche Bank, that's another global bank. And what she eventually wanted to do was to work with Amazon. But she got into the last stage of the interview, and I don't know whether she was excited, and that happens, right? But she didn't leverage data. She talked about the data, but she never talked about what this data could do and how we could begin to ensure that it didn't happen. And that's how she didn't get the job. How did she know? She got the feedback later to say, you were great, you told us all of the right things, but you couldn't use it. And this level that you're going to be working at was the stage of mitigation. That is the stage of strategy, right? And if you cannot tell us what it is and what should be happening, what we need to begin to do, then you're not that fit for us. And that was very heartbreaking, because could she do it? Yes. And again, when Omomi was speaking and talked about the fact that when you do it all the time, you get so much more confident in it. And that's the beauty of internships. That's the beauty of the work that Amdari does. The more you connect with the opportunities, and I call it an opportunity because not everybody has it, the more confident you are and the more you refine your storytelling, so that when you get to that stage where it matters, you don't falter, you don't flounder, you don't, okay, let me not say that one, it's an F word, but you don't mess up, right? And that's something that that we need to be able to do appropriately. So far, are we following? Am I the only one in the room? Are we here at all? Okay, fantastic. Okay, I see those thumbs up. Thank you so much, everyone. Fantastic. Okay, now what is the process? It starts first of all with identifying. And again, look, I'm totally in love with you guys, to be honest. They not only give you the space, they've even identified project areas where you can make impact, right? And that's what you need to do with Amdari, right? So they've cut your journey literally to 1/3, because they've done half of the work. They've done more than half of the work for you. And so they've already identified the areas that are like hot cakes in the market. All you need to do there, they've collected the data for you. They've cleaned it out. What you then need to do is say, okay, what is the method to do this? And watching those videos tells you how they've done all of this work for you. And then you can then go into that stage where you can replicate it, so that when you're speaking with sense, and you're not just talking like as if you're somebody that have not go school at all, right? And again, that's what Amdari does for you, which again is fantastic. When you think about the data space, there is the raw data, there is the processing, and then there's the insights. And that's what I've just mentioned. But where you want to go, right, is that place where you are magneting the money. And to be able to magnet the money, you need to first of all recognize where you are and where you want to go. And that's something that is important. Everybody uses data. But it's not only people that are in IT that use data. We all use data. Even me, before I came into the tech space, I always used data. in the education space, right? What are the scores of the kids? What are the questions that they miss? Why do they miss those questions? At what point in time, what was happening when that teacher was teaching that particular topic? All of those things are data, right? And we always use that. We don't call it data per se, but that's what it is. And that's why you as professionals then come in and help us understand those behavior, help us understand why this is happening, and help us know what we need to begin to do differently. And that's where you come in. But you must see yourself in that space. Of course, we know these skills. I took this slide right off Google. We know these skills, right? We know that these are the technical skills that we need to have. But a lot of the time, what gets you the job, no joking, are these other skills. That's what gets you the job. Your communication, your problem solving, how you've shown that you worked in the team, how you've shown that you have domain knowledge, how you carry people along in the presentations. That's what sells you on the job. That's what moves you from an entry-level position to a mid-level and a top-level position. It's the soft skills. These other ones are easy. On my job, for example, I'm not the one that crunches the data. No. Are you joking? Why? I'm not. Right? And that's because I'm not in an entry-level position. There's nothing wrong with an entry-level position, don't get me wrong. But again, I've noticed that we have quite a wide range of people here. Those that are new in the space, those that are already working in the space, and those that are, maybe even working on another space, right? But want to come into the data space. And that's absolutely fine. But you need to know where you are. And you need to say to yourself, based on where I am, what am I bringing to the table? And I'll give you another example. I have a recent client. Oh, my yellow, there's something I put over here so that you could see it properly, but I think for some reason it's not there right now. What we hear, what I just wrote here is, how can you position yourself, right? And that's just what is there. And I'll tell you a story to sort of tie that in. I'm working with a current professional. She's just moved to the UK from Nigeria. She has over 15 years experience in the finance industry. No joking, over 15 years. She took a business analysis training and she was struggling with it, struggling with the tools, struggling because she did it with a large group of people. So she was really just struggling with how to then translate what she had learned to, I mean, she didn't have a platform like Amdari, to translate where she is to that space in the market. And when I met with her, she seems to forget that she was a finance person. And so when we had our discovery call, I was like, wait. You have how many years in the bank? She told me. I said, so why are you just telling me that you just learned business analysis? She said, but I just learned it. I said, no, stop it. You have a background. And I'm going to say this here. Every single one of you here has a background. Some of you are clean, right? This is all that you know, data analysis, data engineering, and that's absolutely fine. But there's some of you on this call, out of the 100 and over 35 of us on this call, who have other backgrounds that we're coming from. Why are you throwing it away? I said to this young lady, I said, with your over 15 years experience in the bank, if you go in and say you're a finance business analyst, you're not coming in at entry level because you already know the skills, right? You know how to do your requirements elicitation, how to break into functional and non-functional requirements. You know how to write your agile user stories. You know how to write your acceptance criteria. You know how to write your test scripts. You know the scenarios in the banks. I said, so you're not entry level. But she never saw herself as that. And she was positioning herself as somebody who was new in the business analysis space, forgetting she had a background. And that's why when you begin your Amdari journey, and for those of you who haven't started your Amdari journey, don't be so quick to go and rush off to a project that is something that you feel is sellable in the market. Don't do that. You sort of put yourself at a disadvantage. If you have been, for example, in the healthcare, look for data that is healthcare focused. Why? You have the background. You have those basic skills that sets you apart. If you're somebody who has been in the customer services space, look for projects and data and all of those sets that, again, solidify that experience, because it go easy for you to understand them. You know, go be like, say that they talk Greek, where you are learning the skill and then you are learning the domain as well. Double jeopardy. Is it wahala for the body? Why? Just let it only be one wahala. Let it not be two, right? Let it just be that you're taking the skills of a data analyst and you're imposing it on what you already know. And honestly, that's easier for you. right? And that's the beauty again. Oh gosh, I'm Dari. You guys need to pay me for the way I'm just talking about you people up and down. What's going on? But you see, they've already sort of analyzed it and categorized it for you. And that's fun. You don't get that in the marketplace. You don't. You can go to, I don't want to mention some of those sites where you can go and download all sorts of rubbish data. It's not like it's rubbish, right? Because they're good. There's nothing wrong with them. But what Amdari has done is categorized it for you. You don't have to search through thousands and thousands and thousands of data that already exists. They've done it for you. Look, if you don't invest in yourself, nobody will invest in you. If you don't invest in your future, you're making a mistake, a huge, huge mistake. Now, for some of you in this room, I'm sure that don't realize that you have even been using data. If you take a look at these questions that I've written, you would find out that you're already in the data space. And I just put together this very basic questions because again, I wasn't sure the demographics that we would have in the room with us today. But if you just looked at these, right, you would understand that you already are in the data space. And you're saying none of you have noticed that there's more people on the roads or taking buses or doing whatever on weekends than on weekdays? Are you saying that between the hours of 4:30 to 6 a.m. or 6:30, you haven't noticed that you have more commuters who are office-based people than at regular times? Of course you've noticed. That is data. How are you using it? Right? How are you breaking it down a bit more to where it needs to be? Again, where are you? Where, if I needed to put these into 4 quadrants, what quadrant would you be? Is it in the lowest level quadrant? Is that where you are? You need to plug yourself. Where are you? You already have these data skills. Okay. And if I told you guys to do the example that I have at the bottom, where I would say, jot down 3 or 4 ways that you have helped somebody solve a problem. Look, the chats will be full. Full. Because you've done it. But the question is, have you recognized where you are? Have you recognized that this is what will take you to that space where you want to be? And I'm not gonna lie, right? Finding a job is a job in itself. That's the truth. It takes a lot to find a job. So you have to be committed to doing the hard work. Okay, I will say that now. But if you're committed to doing the hard work, you will find that it pays. And you have to take the time to do the hard work. I'm currently, like I said to you guys, I'm trying to pivot. And to be honest, I've already pivoted, but I'm looking for like an extra contract role that I can do. Because I mean, my kids are in uni, so I'm alone in my house. Literally, when my husband is around, hey, I'm not alone. But a lot of the time I'm alone at home. And what would happen is sometimes I just have a lot of time on my hands. So what am I looking out for? I'm looking for jobs in another time zone, right? Where I can do contracting. And that's hard work. Do you understand what I mean? So some of you on this call might be under 40. I'm going to be 49. Do you grab? So I'm not a spring chicken, so to speak. Maybe in the market. But if I'm doing all these things, why are you sitting down and expecting that to just fall inside your lap? Aunties and uncles, let's stop it. Call yourself and say to yourself, I am not ordinary. I will do the hard work. And you need to say that to yourself. Say it. I know I can't see you guys and your videos are off, but say it to yourself. All right. I can see that there's a lot of hand raising going on, and we'll come to that in a minute. But let's just, I'm almost done with this session. Now, what are the 3 main challenges that people typically have? Number 1 is that you don't even know the skills that you have, and you're not even sure where to start. Like, where am I? Why am I here? Am I here? That's where you are, and that's okay. Right? And then number 2 is that you do not even know what skills people need and what the businesses need. And that's also okay. Again, Amdari sort of solves number 1 and 2 for you because of the platform that they have provided. So again, interact with that platform because it sort of really does support you on this journey. And number 3 is, how do you even start going? How do you get started? Right? Or you're struggling with where you currently are. And again, this session will sort of give you clarity on that. For every single thing, right, you need to first of all define where you are. Okay, if you're already in the data space, where are you? Are you in the prescriptive stage? Are you in the diagnostic stage? Where exactly are you? Right, you need to be able to say to yourself, this is where I am, and determine where you want to go. 4 things that you can do, all right, is have a self-assessment. I assess myself you can't even understand. I think my own is a problem right now. It's like OCD. When I keep repeating something over and over again, there's just wahala for me in that one. So maybe I even need to stop doing number one because I think I do it too much. But I'm constantly self-evaluating. And the way to self-evaluate is to be reflective. You need to say to yourself, what is that thing that I want to do? Right? And in knowing what you want to do, take a critical look at yourself. No lie to yourself. Don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. Where are you? What can you really do? Because if you lie to yourself, at the end of the day, you're never going to get to where you want to go. And you're going to be wondering if village people are pursuing you. You are your village person, and you are the one pursuing yourself. Right? So you again need to be in that space where you can actually say, this is what I'm going to do. Reflect on your daily tasks at work, when you're playing, whatever it is, reflect on it. And that gives you an understanding of where exactly it is that you are. And I do have a tool that I will share with you guys later. And then cross-reference your skills, okay? So this is looking at this self-assessment I'm talking about, an inventory, is you looking at your skills in terms of the data space, all right? That's number one. And then you need to say real life projects that are happening. How can I, where do I fit? Am I even anywhere near here? And it's okay, right? I wish there was a whiteboard here. There's no whiteboard. Okay, I think there's a whiteboard. Let me see. No, there's no whiteboard. And I wish I was a whiteboard so I could draw it for you. When you think about the levels of competence, and that's what number 1 and 2 does for you. You start with a place where you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't even know what you don't know. I'm sure you hear that a lot. You don't know what you don't know. And that's the truth. It's called unconscious incompetent. You don't know, say you know even know. In itself is a problem. And then eventually you get to the place, like a session like this, for example, or when you then interact with like the Amdari platform or the Amdari team, and then you get to that place where you'll be like, hey, I don't know you do. God, where do I have to start from? And then you have a lot of imposter syndrome. You have a lot of fear. You have a lot of self-doubt, even self-sabotage happening. And that is a space of conscious incompetence. That's what it's called. You are consciously, I'm incompetent and I'm conscious of my incompetence. And again, that's the stage 2, right? Then that's where the analysis tells you, when you do the first analysis, then you realize, oh my God, there are things I don't know. And you're in that stage of unconscious incompetence. But even when you're unconsciously incompetent, it means that there might be 1 or 2 skills that you have, right? Cross-reference those skills with what that industry you want to go, that thing you want to do that cross-referencing. And then you get to the stage where you are consciously competent. Why? You're training on the Amdari platform. You're talking to people like myself. You're connecting with people in your community, the Amdari community. And so you're now like, okay, even like say I don't disagree. I'm all right these days. So, you're consciously competent. You know where you currently are. And again, you're doing it what? Versus the marketplace. It's not just about you. It's always versus the marketplace, right? Versus where you want to go, okay? And once you have done that, at some point, when you've done it a lot, you're then going to like the final stage, right? Where you're unconsciously competent. Like you're like a master. You just know it, you just do it. It's like riding a bicycle, it's like breathing, it's like drinking water. Nobody has to tell you, breathe, except you see such a fantastic, beautiful young lady walking down the road and you're like, your breath will cease. You will not even know that you have stopped breathing. You're just looking at the magnificence of this young lady and you're like, and your friend will say, close mouth now, breathe, what did they worry you? You're going that is final. Hey, my God. I hope you guys are enjoying this session. Yeah, I hope you guys are following and you really understand what I'm saying. I'm sort of bringing all these anecdotes so that it doesn't seem boring or just talking boring stuff. Right, so fantastic. And then, of course, you then go into number 3. So I hope there are not guys here that stop breathing when they are looking at some of the, maybe even looking at my screen like, this woman, she says she's what, 49? It's not possible. All right, let's go on. Yeah, and so you then, of course, go to number 3, where you're matching your skills because you're now competent, right? So you're then matching your skills based on your competence with what is happening in the industry. And of course, you're then beginning to highlight your transferable skills because now you know that you can do this. But you see, from number 1 to number 4, it takes work. It also takes context, which is why I said to you, What is that thing that you're currently doing? In what industry, in what domain, what business domain are you working? Are you in entertainment? There are entertainment projects. Excuse me. And I remember Omomi mentioning it. Are you in healthcare? There are healthcare projects. Are you in real estate? There are real estate, again, data sets that they've put together for you. Are you in finance? Again, they have it, right? So look to that space where you currently are because it would help you. And don't be worried about all these other many other skills, programming languages. Don't stress yourself too much about it. As you go along your journey, you will get to that place where you can intentionally say, based on these skills, I know I can do this. I know I can do that. And some of you might say, well, I know how to communicate, but there are levels to communication. Levels to communication. The levels, I'll say it again, to communication. So what competence do you need to prove based on that job that you're applying to? And that's something that you need to look at. And I'll show you guys something before the end of this class. And then again, it's important to sort of use this gap analysis that we have here. I don't know what's going on. Some of these things are not showing. Maybe because I'm presenting directly off Canva. You need to say to yourself, based on the job, so what is written here is the job that you want or the industry that you want. What are the skills? Okay, and sort of plot yourself like this. You actually need to be this intentional about your skills and about what you want to do. Plot it like that, right? And some of these skills might not be all that you find. You might find other skills that you will write in as many as you possibly can, and then go into that space where you categorize it and say, this is where I want to start from. These are the things I need to begin to do. And you then progressively move to that space where you have to do, where you can be where you want to be. So remember context. Context, I put it here again, really, really important. What services do you want to provide in in the data analysis space? Descriptive, diagnostics, predictive, or prescriptive, right? Determine it. And it's okay to start out descriptive, like I've said before. It's absolutely okay, right? Nobody becomes a master when they wake up, except babies. They're master criers, that's all. But they grow, right? We all grow. We all progressively get more skills. So it's okay to be at somebody that you don't know. It is okay to not know it. Nobody will beat you. But you cannot sit down and not know it. That doesn't make sense. And expect that that knowing will just happen. No, it's hard work. Do you know how hard it is to work in this space? There's some projects that I'm doing, working on AI and documenting functional and non-functional. Sometimes my hair, if I push this thing now, people can see the gray hair small. Some of it would be more when I finish with working because it's hard. It's hard work. But that's what I want to do, right? So you have to say to yourself, I will do the hard work. And you have to do the hard work, all right? And then to who and why. You need to, again, determine what industry. And I've given you some insights, right? And say to yourself, look at the current industry where you are. It would really help. And then, of course, what are the skills that you then need, right? Again, you would have done your training or you're about to do your training. And it really does depend on you. Amdari doesn't necessarily train from what they've said, but they can guide you on the sort of training providers. And, of course, a lot of these other tools that they provide for you, which, again, is something that you can leverage. And then, of course, what is your minimum viable skill set, right? What do you need to get started? Again, like I said, Amdari, I think is fantastic because they provide all of this to you. I'll be all of this for you. Omomi, how much time do I have? Can I continue?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Yeah, so these are the questions that you need to begin to ask yourself when you say, what do I need to do to move from where I currently are to where I'm going to go? And then sort of do this matrix for yourself, right? Look at the industry where you work and say, what does this industry need? Yeah, right. Don't think small, right? And don't think that you can't make an impact. You can make an impact. You just really need to believe in yourself and know that you can make an impact. Because the minute you know that you can make an impact, you begin to see yourself slightly differently. Write all your lists, all your skills here. I put project lists where it can be the projects you want to engage in. It can be your skills. All right, write them out. And then you would notice that this is the impact on the business, right? So this is you saying, what is the impact I want to make as I'm going in here? And then the value to that business. And most people, prescriptive is the highest, okay? Where the impact on the business is the most and the value that the business will derive from your skills and that you will derive from your skills is the highest here. when you can prescribe. I mean, you guys agree, right? If the doctor just tells you, there's a problem, this headache is bad. The headache is bad. So what should I do? And he was like, me too, I'm wondering what we will do. Will you not beat that doctor? He probably will hold his neck, right? I'll give him a few punches. Because you're like, are you joking? What do you mean? Right? But that's the truth. So you need to be in that space where exactly, I saw somebody says like, are you joking? That's where prescriptive is. And that's why industries will pay a ton of money for people in the descriptive space. But plug yourself. Where are you right now? The most important thing is that you get a foot in the door. Once you get that foot in the door, that is when you then begin to say, okay, I'm moving forward. But get that foot in the door. And to even be able to help you see the door is what Amdari is going to provide for you. So as Omomi was speaking, she did show on her slides, people sharing on LinkedIn. What do you do on LinkedIn right now? Right? What do you do on Twitter? Are you just going to fight about the video and Wizkid? Is it that we are doing on Twitter? I'm saying, please fight for your Davido and your Wizkid, please. I'm not saying you should not fight. Please fight. It's okay. But what else are you doing there? Are you being intentional right now? Right? And those are the things that you need to begin to say to yourself. When I say reflect, when I say list out what it is that you need to do, are you doing those things? You have to. My darling brothers and sisters, my guys, who is your guy? My guys, you have to, right? Half of the more than to be honest, most of the time, because I'm trying to put a figure to it, and it's hard for me, right? But really, most of the time, your stories are tied to your learning, and you really can't put a number on it. You can't. Because when you begin to see the impact of the work that you're doing, the impact of how you have fed yourself now with in terms of where you want to be, and you're pouring into yourself, that's how you then begin to realize, oh my goodness, I've grown. But you need to be able to measure that growth. And it's critical that you do that. Doing stuff like this, working on those projects, documenting your stories on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on wherever, to be honest, or it's X now, it's not more called Twitter, sorry, on X. Very interesting, right? Are ways that you can do this, sharing your learning. I mean, Omomi said when she started, and she already began to talk about her learning, people started to reach out to her. That she started to grow in her connections. She became an influencer. She decided to build a community around herself and around her stories. And that's what you find. But you need to start. If you're already in healthcare, you're like, hey, but I'm in healthcare, what data? Do you know how much data? Again, go to Amdari. So I won't even give you that expo. Go to Amdari and go and look for healthcare data. And I'm sure if you reach out to Omomi or the Amdari team, and she says that she has gist for us later, so I'm sure she will talk about it later on, you would find that they have all of these things for you, right? What did you do? Who did you do it for? How did you do it? What was the impact? So it's not just to say, I something 20%, 90%. What exactly was that? And recruiters will ask you these questions, right? I was talking recently, there was a job, one of my first interviews after I moved to the UK. I wanted to switch my jobs, and I got in that interview session, and I started to talk, and the lady said, so what exactly did you do? And I said, we. She said, no, don't say we. I know that you worked collaboratively, and I love the fact that you worked collaboratively, but I would like to know exactly what you did on that project. And again, it seems like I'm singing the Amdari song, but to be honest, that's it. When you've done the work, you can then say, I did the work. But you know, me, myself, and I are three people. So we are three. We did the project. Me, what I did on the project is this. And that, Nana is laughing. That I'll be like, oh my God, this lady. But that's how you need to begin to think about it and say, on this project, when I was analyzing, this was what I did. This was who I worked with. These are the things that I did in engaging my stakeholders, creating those. That's you, right? And that's you saying what you did, who you did it for. You don't have to call the name of the organization. To be honest, we have GDPR and data protection laws, so you don't have to be calling names of people up and down. But you need to be able to say the industry and what it is that you did and how you did it and what the impact was. And those are critical, right? On your roadmap, you need to say to yourself, that's my roadmap, and you must have it. We've talked about the Amdari community, which I think is honestly fantastic. Look for like-minded individuals. And this is me going into the employability space already. Think about your role. You know, what is this data you want to work on? What is this industry you want to work in? Uh, you know, who on your LinkedIn, who in your social media space are you even connecting with already? Are you only connecting with those of us, the 127 of us who connect with each other on LinkedIn? Whilst that is good, but again, think about that space you want to be in and begin to look at who you need to connect on that space. If you're somebody who is actively looking for jobs, to be honest, 40 to 60% of your LinkedIn should be recruiters, right? Reach out to the recruiters, connect them, send them a short message. And of course, these are tools and strategies that I teach you when I work with you. But I'm telling you guys for free now, reach out to them. The more recruiters you have on your network, the more likely it is that somebody will reach out to you. Go on their pages and comment on what they're talking about. These are strategies that increase your visibility. I, I can't remember the statistics now, but I think they said something like somebody's hired in LinkedIn every 2 or every 5 minutes. That's a huge number of people that are getting hired. I can't tell you personally how many recruiters have reached out to me on LinkedIn, right? They're always reaching out. And why are they reaching out? I'm putting out value. I'm commenting in spaces and on pages and on whatever spaces where I'm adding value. But if you don't even know the value you carry and you're not confident enough to talk about that value, you're not going to be able to do it, right? So again, doing this stuff and engaging with Amdari is stuff that you need to begin to think about. Okay. And there are many side hustles that you can do. I don't like to call them side hustles. I like to call them personal projects. Because if you're working right now, or second portfolios, I personally call them second portfolios or third portfolios and extra portfolios. I don't like to call it hustle, because when you say side hustle, it's almost like it's on the side. It's not that important. It's on my front. It's my hustle. It's my portfolio. Yeah. And I mean, these again, like I said, a lot of you are in the data space, so you probably have all of these sort of projects that you work on. And I didn't realize Amdari provided these for you, but they provide all of these for you, right? So you then need to say, what are the things that I can get on the Amdari platform? That's you being very intentional when you get on that platform. Don't just go there and be scrolling. No, it's probably categorized. So you need to go to the category, the space where you want to work in, and begin to look at projects there. And then what do you need to begin to talk about on LinkedIn? And it's called transferable skills. So even within so let me look for something that is as far away from data as possible. Care, right? The care industry in the UK. Just imagine, and even in Nigeria, right, where we have the care, the nannies, whatever it is that you're doing. If you think about it, it's a very far place from data. But even there, once you start to work on the projects and on things that you're doing, and you begin to say to yourself, I need to pivot, I need to transition, I need to move to this other space, right? When you begin to have that mindset, on your LinkedIn, begin to change the messaging that you are having, the messaging that you're putting out there. You are in charge of your narrative. If you don't own your narrative, somebody else would come and tell it for you, which is the problem we have in Africa right now. Somebody else beyond Africa has told our story, and it's so difficult to shake off that story. So hard to shake off that story, because that's the story that is out there. So begin to speak your narrative. And the best way to do it is on your LinkedIn. That's a professional space, right? It's not about sharing your jobs all the time. Share what you're doing, the impact that you're making. And so as a carer, you say, I'm just sitting down and looking at the industry statistics for how many people are in the care industry in terms of the age, right? And how many of them have families, but still are in the care spaces or in the care homes. And that is a data project, right, that you can look at. And this might be a very simplistic one that I've put out there, but there's so many that you can take a look at and begin to talk about it on your LinkedIn space, right? It's not so much coming out with the technicalities, but just talking about it. And again, ChatGTP can help you do this. And I'm going to do a very quick session once we're done with this one. And again, these are all practical applications, how to pitch yourself, creating your portfolio. Again, Amdari would provide this for you. I'm just going to flip through this very quickly and go to this one, and then we're done. When you're thinking about market readiness, storytelling is a big deal. If somebody says, I'm building the Uber in the healthcare space, and somebody's saying, I'm just building one small healthcare project, Sha, I'm going to want to put my money with the Uber in the healthcare space, right? And for a lot of you that work with data, you guys build fantastic tools and you guys build stuff. I've seen that we have data engineers here. I've seen that we have software engineers here. You're constantly building something out, right? And some of these things are acquirable, right? Somebody built Flutterwave. He doesn't have two heads. What he just simply saw is a problem. So you need to say to yourself, what is the problem that exists? And once you're doing your internships and your work experience and building that confidence on the Amdari platform, what you need to begin to say is, beyond me getting this job, what is the next stage for me? Right? And imagine you guys on the Amdari platform or in the Amdari community actually come together and create something. Do you know what you would do? All of these amazing skills that we have in this here right now, you guys you're gonna do so much, right? But you must first of all see yourself, right? Like you have something to give, and then leverage the skills that already exist. Why? So that you can provide something that is needed. Think about it. Think about where the problem is and begin to say, how do I leverage my skills to create this? And you'll be shocked at how far you go. All right. Your CV, your pitch deck, your digital footprints, interview prep and coaching, those are stuff that I do for you. But you know what? It starts with you even knowing where you are and what is it that you want. Don't wait for the opportunities to come. All right. Go and create them by showcasing what you have and who you are. For your projects, if you're thinking about that personal project, think critical impact. When you go on the Amdari space, say to yourself, what is the most impactful thing that I can leverage on this space? Then leverage it. All right. Thank you all so much. My name is Okeinfu Gladys Ajayi, and it was really, really amazing to be with you guys this evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity, the Amdari team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gladys. I mean, this has been one of the best sessions, and the people on this call are going to agree with me. Guys, if you agree with me, please just give me a thumbs up. Like, this is one of the best sessions. This is one of the best facilitators. Just give me a thumbs. I mean, I can see a lot of people agreeing with me. The relatability, the storytelling, the angle, it was very, very easy to
Thank you.
connect and learn from you. So we're so grateful, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing from your wealth of knowledge. And while you were speaking, some people are like, oh, I love her energy already. And I'm like, oh, I think she's the energy queen. So yes, it's so good to, learn from you. And I believe a lot of people here on this call have gained so much insights that would be very helpful to them. And I hope they also get to connect with you off this call. Guys, please feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn if you would like to do so. Tomiwa, please, you can type her LinkedIn handle so they can connect with her. So we'll be taking questions and answers here. Guys, we won't be able to take so much, so we don't keep her for too long on the call. So I think I'll be taking three questions, and we'll be done for the day. So yes, hands have been raised. So just to match energy, guys, we'll be taking voice questions and not voice and typing. So you guys will be able to unmute yourselves and ask Gladys any question that you have. So let me take a look at the people whose hand is up already. Okay, so we have Joseph. Hi, Joseph. I guess that's not in Nigerian because of the way it's spelled. Hi, Joseph. You can unmute yourself. Tomiwa, can you allow them unmute so they can ask? Okay, I think you can unmute yourself now, Joseph. And yes, Kalu Goodness. Yes, we do. We support interview prep sessions. So yes, Goodness, you can, reach out to us. I'll drop my number. You can subscribe on the platform. Like I mentioned at the start of this, I'll be doing a, final walkthrough of what Amdari does, and then you can get more insight on that. Okay, so Joseph, can you unmute yourself now? Tomiwa, are they able to unmute?
Yes, they are. They are able to unmute. Maybe it's
okay.
network.
Maybe
okay, Joseph, if you can't unmute, yeah, I'll move on to another person. Abdullahi, can you unmute yourself? Your hand is also raised. Okay, Joseph can speak now. Please proceed, Joseph.
I It's not really a question. I'm okay with what she said, but I'm having issues registering to get data on the platform, the Andari platform.
Okay, okay. I think you just need a walkthrough. Have you signed in?
Yeah, I did that 2 weeks ago. The last person, the last guy who talked, I forgot his name, the guy, Shay something that talked 2 weeks ago or something.
Okay,
That works
okay.
with
So I'll do a
Lloyd
walkthrough
Banks,
after
I think.
this.
And that was the
Yeah.
day I registered. I couldn't have access to the data and stuff like that. They said
Oh,
successful,
okay.
but I couldn't log in.
Oh, that's strange. Okay, I'll do a walkthrough for you. That's strange. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Joseph, for that. Hi,
Thank you very
Abdullahi.
much.
Do you have a
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Okay.
Good evening. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. All right. Good
Uh,
evening.
my first appreciation goes to Amdari. The platform is really incredible and a very nice platform. And thanks to Mrs. Gladys, it is the session was so interesting. I appreciate. So my question goes like this: I'm actually a mechanical engineer by profession, trying to cross carpet into data world. So my problem is, if given a raw data, how do I, what are the questions I need to ask? How do I interpret the problem I need to solve with the data? Where do I start from? Because actually I subscribed during the trial period for Amdari platform. So I watched like 2 or 3 video after giving the analysis, but I still find it difficult to, assuming if the data is given to me direct, how do I create the answer? How do I know what to solve with the data? That is one. Secondly, this second goes to Amdali. The issue I'm facing with the platform is I can't say that the cost for the paid version is high. It's not expensive, but I'm just a kind of appealing. If the organizer can consider a situation where, for instance, give access to like a paid version of the project that will enable us to be able to job ready after finishing. Then after finishing, we'll be able to give us that platform in such a way that when you got uh, although you're going to do your findings to know that actually we are not capable of paying the fee for the paid version, then give us a platform in such a way that on getting a placement or a job, the money that is allotted for that paid version will be deducted subsequently and finish up, so that we'll be able to have access to this and know you people will help us help ourselves. So that's my what I'm appealing for. If I don't know can be considered, I believe there are other people that are in my shoe who are willing to actually have this opportunity, but due to financial problem, will not be able to. So those are the two things I want to put forward. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. I think both questions, to be honest, are for Mommy because you're looking at the platform. But in terms of what problem to solve, more than half of the time, they just don't give you scenarios and not, it will be a scenario-based question, really. So if you have this data, they might be asking you specifics and saying, how many so if maybe you're looking at in the retail space and it's an Airbnb project, for example, that you might be working on, they'll be asking you specifically to say, what did you notice in this Airbnb space? So that sort of gives you an insight into what exactly you should be solving for. So it's not just going to be take this data and just do anything with it. No, there's something the organization wants to see. There's something that that sponsor wants to see, and that's what they're going to be asking you to do. So you then sort of pull in all your skills to address that issue. That's what you do typically with your projects. Then I'll hand over the rest to Mommy.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. Abdullahi, okay, to answer your question regarding the fee. Well, I don't know if you're aware, but I mean, we've been listening to you guys, your feedback regarding the pricing, and we have reviewed this pricing like a couple of times just to, be able to help you gain access easily. Right now, we have the monthly plan on the platform, And that monthly plan allows you to use the platform for 1 month, and you have access to everything on the platform, like all the projects, the job board, which is pretty much job listings that instead of being on platforms where the job listings are like all over the place, different industries, this one is just data related jobs. And if you're signed in as a data engineer, we have another for you part. So where you're seeing the general search, there is also the for you part that just shows you data engineering jobs. If you sign in as a data analyst, there is the for you part that just shows you data, and these jobs are fetched every day, right? So you have access to that job opening aspect as well. Then you have the other side that helps you build your job ready portfolio. And all of this, you have access to it with just 49,000 naira. And like I mentioned, the pricing has been reviewed a couple of times so that it's easy for you to be able. And one of the things I really love about what Gladys said earlier was the part where she said you need to invest in yourself and your career, right? So it's just very important for you to know that, okay, if the company has reviewed a couple of times, so we've listened, like we've listened and we've listened, and we have really, really been, working in line with all of the feedback that we've been receiving from you guys, because at the end of the day, it's very important for us to serve you and listen to our users. So that's what we've been doing, that's what we'll keep doing. So just check out the platform again, take a look at the benefits and all of the things that Amdari gets to do. Like I said, if we're doing this for free, imagine what comes in the picture when it's you being subscribed on the platform. So again, the benefits are like endless, and it answers the question that this person also asked me, and that is I think, yeah, goodness, she said, does the Amdari platform support interview prep? Yes, in fact, we have an interview prep planned for one of our subscribers for tomorrow. She has an interview on Monday. You won't believe, like, the time that she reached out was so late, but we are always very available. Like, once you reach out, you're available to help you prepare for that interview, all of the questions, how you answer them, using the STAR approach, whatnot, what your CV needs to look like, everything like that. So we are that intentional with how we serve you and how much of your feedback we also listen to. And one of the other things that is very, very spectacular about what Amdari is still working on to improve on the back end is the portfolio page. Now, we have revamped the portfolio page in such a way that it looks like a personal website for you. So when you work on projects, when you input your details like my name, my contact, and everything, and you copy the link and share with recruiters, it looks like a personal website for your, like, it goes beyond just, oh, we helping you put your projects together. We are actually helping you brand yourself and package yourself and position. And trust me, when you do a screenshot of what this portfolio page looks like and you just post it on LinkedIn, you're even going to be proud as well. Like, so that's how intentional we have been with the value was providing you. So for the price at hand, trust me, you're just going to be doing yourself a lot of good. Because again, like I said, if we've never listened to our users, yes, we would be like, oh, okay, maybe we should listen to our users. But we've reviewed the pricing a couple of times, we've listened to users, and again, we are committed to doing so much more. So fingers crossed, and just always look forward to all of the details that I'll be sharing. And I mentioned that we're still, going very super intentional with internship placement, so we'll be sharing updates on that end with you as well. So just keep it locked with us. If you've not signed up, please do, because you'll be missing out on a lot. And just do yourself a lot of good by using Amdari. Like, the way it goes beyond business for us, the way we are particular about this and how we want users of Amdari to be transformed for the good in their career is like, you would think that we are your family members, because we just want to see transformation. Our joy is to see data professionals post and say, oh, when I used Amdari, I got the job. When I created my portfolio on Amdari, I got the job. When I posted about this and that I worked on Amdari, someone contacted me on LinkedIn and I got. That's just the story that we want to hear. We don't want you to be stagnant. That's not our joy. We want to be proud as a business and say, when they used it, this is what came out of it for them. So yeah, I hope I answered you correctly, Abdullahi. And also, in addition to what I'm trying to remember the name, what you asked, goodness, yes. I hope I answered your questions. Just give me a thumbs up, Abdullahi, or you can just let me know. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, so just sign up on the platform and let me know what you think. So I think we don't have any questions anymore. Okay, Tosi's hand was raised earlier, and I see
We also
Olamile.
have Ominu and
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
chat.
Okay, let me see that. Okay, Modupe, for you to join the Amdari platform, let me just drop the website address for you, amdari.io, and that's easy. Just click on it, sign up, and again, if you need to reach us, I dropped my number earlier. My number is also on the community group. And if you guys can see, the Amdari community has nothing less than 6,000 data professionals on WhatsApp. So that's how big and that's how we've been impacting so far. I mean, if the platform can onboard 4,000 plus users in space of 3 months, that tells you that we are really in 2 months we onboarded 3,000 and now we are even on 4,000 and we launched officially in June. So guys, don't sleep on this. Please take advantage of every of the things that we're doing for you, and we hope to do more, like I said, and we'll be running a survey in the coming weeks, so we'll be communicating better with you guys. So help us help you guys. Help us help you, help us make it easy for you. All right. Oluwatobi says this is his best session. Trust me, I don't want to be biased, but this has been amazing. I really loved how Gladys handled the session. It was really beautiful. Honestly, I could listen to her talk for days.